Okay, our broadcast is going. So viewers out there, send me a question and let me know if you can hear me. Hello, viewers. People who are on the Hangout Live, send a question to confirm that you can hear me. Okay, well, I can see the sound is working apparently here, but haven't heard yet from the viewers. Any viewers out there hear me? Okay, great. Thank you, Matthew. Okay, so I'm going to get started now. I'm going to, okay, so for people, let's see. Okay, so just to give an outline for today. The first project for mini course 1 is out. It's due in a week and a half. It is potentially a challenging assignment, so pay attention to the lecture today because I'm going to reveal, I think, a lot of important steps in how to accomplish it. So I'll get through, so my plan is I'm going to outline exactly what the project is, pause for a moment and take questions in person and online, and then I'll overview what I think is the best way to solve the problem, and then take questions again and wrap it up for today. Okay, so let me try and make this a little bit bigger so it's easier to see. Is, by chance, is anybody here in this room looking at the Google Hangout? Okay. Actually, I think I only sent the announcement to the online people, so that might be why you don't know about it. Okay, so that's fine. Let me ask again for the people in the Hangout. I just want to verify that you can see this text. So send me a quick question to verify that you can see this text and then I'll go back, to the lecture. Thanks, everybody. So verify that you can see the text, and then I'll go on. Just want to make sure the screen sharing is working right. Yeah, there is lag with the Hangouts. Okay, I'm going to go boldly forward and come back and check on you guys a little bit later. Okay, so as usual, the the project is defined on the wiki, and excuse me, what you're creating here is a market simulator. So you're going to read in from a file a list of orders, and then you're going to consult your historical pricing file to simulate what would happen if those orders had been executed. And at any point in time, you'll have a portfolio representing which stocks you're holding, how much cash you have, and so on. And you should then, for each day in this history, compute the value of your portfolio for each day. So it's not, so up until this time, what we've been doing is pretending, okay, we buy stocks at the beginning and we just hold them forever. What we're doing now is we're buying and selling stocks as we go along, and we're calculating the value of the portfolio as we go along. Now, later in the course, you'll use this market simulator that you created to test trading strategies. So an upcoming assignment is to create a trading strategy using a technical indicator, and you'll use that technical indicator to generate orders, and then you'll take those orders and run them through your market simulator. So there's two parts to this assignment. If you skip the second part, you can completely skip it if you like, and if you do perfectly on the first part, you'll still get a 95. I'll get to what the second part is a little bit later. So anyways, the first part is to create this basic simulator. So you should create your simulator in a file called marketsim.py. And the key thing here is there is a function for you to write there called compute port vals. So that function is the one that we'll be calling from our autograder to test your system. So here's the what the function prototype looks like. Your function should take a start date, which is a date time object, an end date, so that sets the beginning and the ending over which we'll simulate. The name of a orders file, so that's it's a comma separated value file where all the individual orders are stored, and then a starting value for the portfolio. So typically $1 million or something. Then you do a bunch of computation and return a data frame which has just one column, which is the value of the portfolio on every day between start date and end date. Okay. So here is what you'll find in an orders file. Let me pause for a second and see if the online folks are with us. Okay, great. I love that infinity of effect there. Okay, so each line in this orders file represents a single order. And the information that you need for this order is when it is. So we have year, month, and day. What symbol it's about, IBM or Google or whatever. Whether it's buy or sell, and the number of shares to buy or sell. Let's see. There, there's not a concept, you know, we spoke earlier about limit orders and market orders and so on. For this simulation, we don't differentiate. We just assume that you get the price that is the adjusted close for that date. So if there's an order, for example here, 2008, December 3rd, we're buying 130 shares of Apple. Well, we look at the adjusted close price for Apple on that date, and that's the price you get. All trades, we assume, happen at the close. So if you're selling something and buying something else, both of those transactions happen at market close. Now, couple things to be specific about. Use adjusted closing prices. Don't use actual closing prices. We can talk about separately why that is, but that's if you don't use adjusted closing prices, your answer will be wrong. Okay, so this is a very simple example orders file. So we on December 3rd, we bought 130 shares of Apple. On December 8th, we sold 130. And then on December 5th, we bought 50 shares of IBM. One thing to note is these orders are, in this example, not in date order. I forgot why that is the case, but anyways, be sure that your program can handle trades that might be out of order. The reason, as I recall, is that sometimes we might run a strategy on one symbol and create all the trades for it, then run the strategy on another symbol and create all the trades for that, so they come sort of out of order. Normally you would apply some kind of sort to be sure they're in the right order. Okay, so after your function runs, the result should be something like this. You know, if you print your data frame, you would see a date and then a portfolio value for each date. Now we're only going to, for this project, we're only going to test your port val function. But you should probably write some additional supporting code so that you can check your answers. Because we provide several examples where we tell you, okay, the Sharpe ratio of this history is this. We provide several example answers, and the easiest way to check that you're getting it right is that these overall statistics are right. So you should write some helper code that calls your function with some examples, specifically the examples we're providing, and check that you get the same answer. Okay, so let me pause. Let me scroll down a little bit to get an example down here. Here's a short example. It's only got one buy and one sell of Apple, and we've got example portfolio values here, and these are the adjusted close values for Apple that end up providing these correct values. Okay, let me go back up here now. Okay, so let me stop for a second now and see if we've got any questions. I already got a question. Okay. Is there only one buy sell for each day, and does it happen at the end of the day? So for each individual stock, there will be at most one buy or one sell. But there may be multiple stocks that trade on a particular day. So we might buy some Google, we might buy some IBM, we might sell some other stock all on the same day. Okay, any questions here in Atlanta? Yeah. So it's the sum of the value of all the stocks that you're holding plus your cash. And remember, I should say that some of your positions might be negative because you shorted something. Okay, any questions out in the wild? So folks on online, it seems like there's maybe a 30-second to a minute delay. So go ahead and post questions as they occur to you, and I'll periodically check to see if there's any more questions. Any more questions here in Atlanta? Okay. All right, now the part about leverage. So in previous iterations of this class, we would let people short, an infinite amount of stocks and said, don't worry about leverage and so on. This time, we're going to consider leverage. So let me give you an example of what that means. Here's the most simple example of leverage. And what leverage relates to is lending, essentially. But here's something you can do right now. Person on the street can go to Interactive Brokers, deposit $100,000. Well, not everybody on the street has $100,000, but anyways, you can deposit $100,000, and then you can buy $200,000 worth of stock. And what that amounts to is that Interactive Brokers has lent you $100,000. If you do this, what you'll see is that your long portfolio, the stocks you hold, is worth $200,000. Your cash will be negative $100,000 because that represents the loan that Interactive Brokers has given you. So let me step through it, just for example. You deposit $100,000. Your cash is $100,000. Let's say first you buy $100,000 worth of stock. Now your long position in stock is $100,000 and your cash is zero, right? You can then buy another $100,000 worth of stock. So your long position is now $200,000 and your cash becomes negative $100,000. That is leverage of 2.0. Essentially, you're holding positions that are worth twice as much as the current value of your portfolio. Now, keep in mind, you had this $100,000 long and $100,000 cash. If you sort of sum that together, your portfolio is still only worth $100,000, right? But you've managed to get into $200,000 worth of stock. Why would you do this? Well, let's suppose you think the market is going up. Why not have your portfolio go up twice as much as the market? Well, the answer to why not is it's more risky. Anyways, the definition of leverage is right here. What it boils down to is it's this number that represents all of your positions. And notice we take the absolute value of the short positions. So these are all the positions you're in. We sum together all those values, and then on the bottom side here is essentially the current value of your portfolio. So that $100,000 I was talking about, after you add the $200,000 stocks you've got, subtract the the negative cash, that's $100,000. So in this example I just gave you, you'd have $200,000 on the top here and $100,000 on the bottom, and that's how you get the leverage of 2.0. Now, interactive brokers will allow just sort of regular people, I think, to go up to something like 7 times 7x leverage. And the what's amazing about it right now is the interest they charge is about 1.25% per year. So if you think you're going to make more than 1.25% on positions you might buy, it's worthwhile to use that leverage. I'm not trying to recommend that you use leverage. I'm just saying how that works as in an equation. Anyways, I have a few more examples here of calculating leverage. To get credit for the leverage component of the project, you need to reject any orders that would cause the portfolio to exceed 2.0 leverage. And so to check your code, we'll give you orders files that would cause the portfolio to exceed 2.0 leverage, and we'll run it and make sure we reject those orders, and we'll compare what we get for the portfolio value to what you get. And if there'll be 2 test cases for that, and if you pass both test cases, you get the additional 5%. Okay, let's see if we got any questions. Oh, so I didn't repeat, last question we had, I didn't repeat what the question was. I'm sorry. You asked the question. What was your question? I'll restate it for them. Right. So the question was, what is the value of the portfolio for a particular day? And she was curious, was it just the stock holdings part or something bigger? And the answer is it's the stock holdings part and the cash component. Okay, that is overview of the project. So let me pause for a second and see if anybody's got questions here on campus. Okay, I'm now going to step through what I think is a good way to solve this problem. And by the way, there's the example I'm going to, or the method I'm going to step through. Much of it is covered here on this slide deck, Market Sim Guidelines. What I'm going to say is maybe a little bit different, but if you follow those steps, you'll end up in with a pretty similar result. Okay, so I'm going to go to the board now to address this. Let's see. Okay. Just want to make it so the people online can see here. Okay. Need some pins. All right, so I got a shout. I'll try and go sort of left to right here for steps to follow. Okay, so number one is read the CSV file and also read start and end dates. So once you read the CSV file, look in the symbol column, and that'll tell you all the symbols you need to read, right? Is that a question or a stretch? Okay. All right. So out of this comes date range and symbols. Okay, so 2, read adjusted closing so take this information you got from scanning that CSV file and read it, read the prices into a data frame. So we've got dates going this way and symbols horizontally, and this first row is our start date, and this last row is our end date. Everybody follow me so far? Okay, so this will be our prices data frame. One thing to, see if we got any questions here. Okay, I'll answer the questions shortly. Oh, check questions and cell phone. Maybe this is someone from the online course. Okay, I'm sorry it's hard to see that online, people. You just have to listen and get the gist of it. Okay. I want you to add one more column to this prices file. Call it cash. It comes in useful. So I'll add one more column here called cash. And what cash represents is what is the price for 1 unit of cash? Anybody have a guess? What does $1 cost? 1, right? So just fill that with 1.0. So you might be wondering, what the heck is this? Okay, I'll show you a little bit later. It just it makes later computations just more direct and easy if you have this column. Okay. Next step is we're going to make a additional data frame. We'll call it trades. Okay. And it has the same, so it's dates here, symbols here. Remember so way to start it is just copy this one and fill it with zeros. Now, what each row in this trades data frame represents is a delta, or a change in how much of something you're holding. So let's consider. Let me put my. I'll put some order. I'll put two orders over here. So let's say on 2008, 12.3, we buy Apple 130 shares. And then we'll have another order, 2008, 12.8, sell Apple 130. Okay, so we want this data frame to represent changes in our holdings. And to create it, we step through our orders file one line at a time, and we update the appropriate row in this trades file. Okay, so let's do this one first. Let's say that's right about here. And let's say this is our Apple column. Remember cash here. Okay, so on this date, we went from, we increased the number of shares of Apple we were holding by 130. So we just put 130 in there. Now, something happens to our cash, right? So what happens when you buy 130 shares of Apple? What happens to your cash? You lose some, right? So how much cash do you lose? It's 130 times what? Right, so whatever the price was, let's say it's here, whatever the price of Apple was, I'll just say it's $100 for convenience. So we put here negative 130 times 100, because we lost cash when we made that trade. Right now, we're not tallying things over time. We're just saying it must be the case that if I bought 130 shares of Apple, I gained some shares of Apple and I lost some cash. Any questions? Yes? So the first row is all zeros. Right, so it's, yeah, everything is zeros. It's mostly zeros, this data frame. So this is just registering the changes. It's not the cumulative value yet. So this is zeros everywhere. Okay, there's another question. Oh, so for you folks online there, she asked, where are the zeros? So there's lots of zeros there. Another question?
Yeah, I would have a question. If we were considering how much money we have at the beginning, or just like, I have X cash, I don't know how much, but I lose like 13,000 with this transaction, and then I guess we'll add.
Right, that's coming later, but that's, so the question was, how does the starting cash relate to this? Let me see if we got any online questions. The question is, the online question is, to short in the simulator, do you just get a sell order before the buy order? And yes, that's right. So your simulator can perfectly well simulate shorts just by selling first. So if this had been sell instead of buy, we'd have a negative 130 here and a positive. So when you short, you get cash. Right? Okay. Okay, now we step to our next trade. So that's here. And it's a sell 130. So we'll put a negative 130 here. So it's zeros all the way until then. And the negative 130 just means, we reduced the number of shares we were holding, but we get cash. So it's 130 times, let's say it was 110 here. So it comes over here times 110, whatever that number is. Okay, so that's what I call the trades file. And again, it just represents changes in what we're holding or not holding. Pretty clear, right? Okay. Next one. Let me think about this. Let's call this DF holdings. And this data frame now is going to represent on each day what are our holdings of stocks and cash, right? And this one is simple to construct. Apple here again. Let me move the laptop a little bit so you can't see this online, but I've got a very expensive tripod here. Okay, so same columns. And we fill in the first row with our known positions at the start, which is zeros, right? But how much cash have we got? Whatever it is, 1 million. Sorry about this. And can anybody guess how we fill in the rows going forward? So this is just how much you hold. It's not the value yet. Well, I'll give the answer. Right. So we take what it is on this. So it's a. I'm going to show you with for loops, and of course, for loops are evil, right? But you can quickly undo the for loop evil. But the value on the next day is just the value of the previous day plus the corresponding row from your trades data frame. So this becomes 130 and 1 million. Let's see. So it's 1 million minus, what is it, 13,000? Can somebody tell me what that number is? I want to write the right thing on the board, otherwise somebody online is going to say, Dr. Balch, the number's not right. So what's 1 million minus 13,000? Right, somebody raise their hand who knows the answer. One person. I know the answer's out there, just everybody can't say it at once. Ah! There we go, okay. I think that's right. Okay, sorry. For some reason, when I'm on stage, I can't do math. Okay, so then we take that, add it to the next row, but then nothing happened, you know, zeros here. So the next row is the same. And it stays the same until we get down to this row, and suddenly there's a change. And we end up now with 0 shares of Apple. And whoever did this math for me, now add 130 times 110 to that number. Who knows the answer? Huh? Okay, and then add 987,000 to it. $1 million, okay. 1 million. Okay, I know. I'm just trying to figure out where this extra 1,300. Is that it? One million 1,300. Okay. I don't know why I'm having. I don't know what's the matter with my brain today. 1,300. So let's do the 1,300, and then there we go. That's right, right? Okay. Even if it's not, I'm going to go on. Okay, and then there's no more trades until the end. So these will continue being zeros, and this value will continue to the end. So does everybody see now how to construct the holdings data frame? So this represents on each day how many shares of each stock are you holding and how much cash you've got. Let me see if we've got any questions online. No new questions. Okay. Now, there's essentially 2 short additional calculations. So let's call this next one df value. And what we want now in each row is to represent what is the dollar value of each asset. And all we have to do to calculate that is it's DF holdings times DF prices. And so our, for instance, on this day, we'll get 130 for Apple times 100. So we'll have 13,000 here. And that value will change daily as the closing price of Apple, or I'm sorry, yeah, Apple changes daily, right? It'll go up a little bit and down a little bit. And so on, until we exit it and we're back to zero. Our cash is going to go up and down each day according to, well, it doesn't change, well, see, because the price of cash is always 1. It doesn't change according to price, it just changes according to trades that you make. And then down here we end up with this now tells you, you know, my value in each of the stocks and my cash, and then the final result. Let me turn this a little bit more. The value of your portfolio on any one day, call it port val, is just the sum of each row. So it's what is it? DF value dot sum axis equals 1. And that's it. So see if we've got any questions here. No more questions. Let me, I'll recap it one more time just to see if there's some questions along the way. So read the orders file to discover which symbols you're going to have to read. Note the start date and the end date, and that defines now what you need, what data you need to read. Read it into a data frame, call it DF prices. Add this additional column, cash. It's got a price every day of 1. So this is your prices reference. Now, step through your orders file one at a time and note those. So orders represent changes in your portfolio. So note those changes in DF trades. So a buy means you gain stock and you lose cash. Sell means you lose shares and you gain cash. And remember, this is just what has changed. It's not representing any kind of cumulative value. Okay, now from that, you essentially accumulate that into this new data frame, and that'll show you on any particular day how many shares of each stock you've got and how much cash you've got. But remember, these are just shares. They're not the dollar value. So you have to do one more step, which is to multiply holdings times prices, and boom, suddenly you have the dollar value for each equity and cash, and you sum the rows, and boom, that's the answer. Okay. Any questions about, so if you follow these instructions, that's the solution to project 1 for mini course 2. The leverage part, I'm intending to be kind of a almost a kind of extra credit for people who want to go the extra mile. And so I'm not going to cover how to solve that in class. But if you have questions about it, feel free to ask on Piazza. Okay, so we've got a little bit of time left. Let me open the floor to questions, not just about this project, but any issues with the class overall. Yeah.
I know what you said, but I have a question about the leverage part.
Okay.
So you said we shouldn't allow more than 2.0 leverage.
Right.
So I guess we have to disregard operations that put us in that position. But can we consider like partial orders, like 100 shares will put me in 2 point something of leverage, but 50 shares just put me in 2.0. So I'll buy 50 shares instead of 100 shares. So just disregard the complete order.
Okay. So the question was regarding leverage. Suppose there's an order that would cause you to exceed leverage. Should you partially fill it or just discard it? So I will give a little hint about leverage since we're talking about it. All of the information. So a way to address it is add create another column here called leverage. I'll say DF leverage. Anyways, all the information you need to compute leverage is available in each row, but you need to pay special attention to the negative values from the positive. So that if there's a negative value here, that means that's a short position. If it's a positive value, obviously it's a long position. But you can take a look at that equation for leverage, and from each row, compute what leverage is that day. So in order to solve this problem, you can scan through this column and look for places where leverage goes above 2.0. Anyways, back to your question. So her question was, should I try a partial fill or should I just throw it out? So so what a broker would do is just discard the whole order. They'd say that's an illegal order because it exceeds leverage, and so they would just throw it out. So that's so the way to do it is, or one way to do it is look for leverage over 2.0 here, figure out which order it relates to, just remove it. Unfortunately, then you have to rerun. I don't think it's easy to do surgery. Well, maybe you can just remove this part, I guess. But I guess you could go back to that point and remove the offending row, the trades row, and then just recalculate going forward.
And what if you have 2 orders that put you in that case, but separately, each of them don't put you in that?
So the question was, what if you have 2 orders? All right, so so let me restate your question. What if we have 2 orders that together put you over the boundary, but separately they wouldn't? So that would only happen if there were 2 orders on the same date, right? I'll stipulate. Okay, so the way this would happen in reality is your orders would arrive at the broker at slightly different times. So we're not differentiating. We're not telling you an order for orders that happen on the same day. So I'll just say that that won't happen in our example files. I think a way to resolve it, an acceptable way to resolve it, would be to just look at the order that they occur, within the file, and fill the first one and exclude the second one. But we'll sidestep that by not having that happen. Any other questions? Okay, I've got a question online here. If you discard a buy order because of leverage, then should you discard corresponding sell orders? So in this case, no, because we don't really know the origin of those orders.
If you get to a point where you're trying to sell something you don't have, or something
Well, that's shorting. The key thing, so in reality what would happen, and so this is a few steps away from reality, okay? In reality what would happen is you would try that buy order, it would get rejected, and then you wouldn't later generate the corresponding sell order. But because we're generating all these orders in kind of a batch process, you don't necessarily know that that's what happened. I just want you to have a slightly more authentic simulator that monitors leverage, because what we're gonna in a later project, you're going to generate lots and lots of orders, and it's reasonable to be checking for the leverage. Any other questions? If we have anything online. Okay, all right, that's all I've got for today. So have a good weekend, and I'll see you on Tuesday. Signing off to the online guys. Post any additional questions on Piazza if you've got them.